Smile with your eyes. I can see it.
Thank you, Rob.
Okay, it's going to be a little different this morning. Normally we're having our breakfast and gathering and talking about great memories, but it looks like we're all going to be doing that in person today. Jen, did you have something planned, or is it just go around and everyone talk?
I was just thinking everyone could go around and just share a little bit.
Okay, let's start online. Let's start out on the right. Let's start with Ann Kell.
Okay, what are you looking for?
Any nice Christmas stories? Anything?
Any Christmas traditions, nice Christmas stories, things you look forward to?
Okay. Well, I remember growing up on the farm, and we always had lots of animals there. So it was difficult to go very far on Christmas Day. I had to look after chores and feeding them. So my best Christmas memories are of my mom's sister and brother-in-law and my 4 cousins coming every year for Christmas. And so we'd have a big Christmas gathering, lots of food and presents. And then as long as the weather had been cold, and in those days it usually was, we'd go skating on the old lake on the property. It was more of a slough when I was growing up, or a swamp, but we'd clear it off and then we'd all go skating. So those are some good Christmas memories I have.
Thank you very much. We'll switch it up one for one to give people time to come up to the mic to talk. Let's start with Janet on this one. Just because you blocked my face with the basket.
Yeah, because of the basket, yeah. Good morning, everybody. One of my fondest memories actually goes back to a September. Every September, my mom and dad would make English Christmas puddings. We'd have to stir it, make a wish for whatever it was that we were having for that for Christmas, basically. And I can still smell and taste that Christmas pudding because I love it. But we would always, Christmas Day, we would have steamed pudding and then we would put some brandy or something like that over top of it and then light it until the blue flame would, and you'd have this Christmas pudding with custard with it. So very British in that respect. And yeah, it was always a lot of fun.
Thank you, Janet. I can't see. Let's start. I can't remember who's online. Monica.
Good morning. I guess one of my earliest Christmas memories would be when I was a lot younger, probably since I was born up. We would get together with my mom's side of the family every Boxing Day. Her family is large, and I didn't know at that time that the Santa Claus that came to visit us was actually my uncle, that part of the family. And the kids didn't even realize it. And then as we got older, I don't know, 8, 9, I don't even remember the age. It was like, Mom, is that Uncle Glenn? And because he wasn't there at the same time Santa Claus got there, we all kind of figured it out. But it was like, yes, they're still younger cousins. But I still remember that, you know, Santa coming in, it was just the big action of that. But then realizing that it was actually my uncle. It's kind of neat. So, yeah.
Thank you, Monica. Teresa.
I love Christmas, especially with the kids. And one of our traditions I did with the kids when they were younger, and I do with my grandkids, is we bake a birthday cake for Jesus. And we all sing happy birthday to Jesus. And one of the Christmas that kids think about is when they woke up and there was a trail of money from their bed leading to the Christmas tree. I had $5 bills all over the Christmas tree, and they just went crazy. So they had a nice shopping spree.
Who else?
It was amazing.
Chief Fletcher.
Well, good morning, everybody, and great to see so many familiar faces and welcome back, Jason, for a quick little tour and say hello. Great to see you. Probably one of my fondest memories for Christmas is, you know, we all know that family is so important to us, and my mom was a big one for Christmas, and our family always wanted to celebrate it to the max. And back around 1985, when we all started working, I'd been in policing for a year, and my brother joined the medical field, and my sister was in an occupational therapist field. And my mom used to get really bummed out because we couldn't do Christmas because most of us were working emergency services in those times. And if you were the new guy, you knew you weren't getting Christmas off. So in 1985, my mother declared Christmas was now going to be on December 26th. And she knew that we could all probably get the 26th off. So the Fletcher Christmas was then moved to the 26th, and that tradition is carried forward for the past 35 years and continues to be celebrated on Boxing Day. So again, just trying to accommodate family and meet the needs of everybody. And my brother's now out west and my other brother's in England, and we still manage to get together on the 26th, even if it's remotely just by Zoom or something, to wish each other a big Merry Christmas and have a family gathering.
Nice.
Thank you, Chief. Next.
I forgot my name. I've been here for so long. Good morning, everybody. So when I was a kid, my family's Austrian, so we always did Christmas Eve at my grandparents' house when I was very small at their farm. And my grandfather would keep the tree undecorated outside until Christmas Eve. So Christmas Eve, he would schlep the tree in and light it all up and have a big sheet around the whole thing so that no one could see. He was the only one to touch it. And then when everyone was able after dinner, we would all be able to go in and he'd unveil this tree. And he used to use tiny little candles on the tree, which after a while you wondered, we shouldn't be doing that. But it was just this magical look to the tree, and we had always such a great gathering together. And I really miss those times when so many of us could get together, but hopefully we'll get back to that soon. That's my Christmas one.
Thank you, Susie. Write it down so I don't forget it, Scott. Jen.
My Christmas tradition growing up was always over 3 days, which now I realize was probably a lot for my parents. At the time, it sounded like, you know, it was such a magical time. Christmas Eve, we would spend over at my mom's parents with our cousins, and just so many good memories. We did that probably up until our early 20s. And I remember when we were really little, we would drive home the long way and go through Ontario Street down in St. Catharines and just marvel at all the businesses were closed. And that was just the big thing. Like, look, even McDonald's is closed because it's Christmas Eve and it's special. And on Christmas Day, we would usually stay at home and just have our immediate family. And then the following day on Boxing Day, we'd always go up to Toronto to see my dad's family. And for that side of things, Quality Street is the flavor that sticks in my mind for that. That's my dad's Scottish. So that was just always the big tradition, is passing around the tin of Quality Street at my grand and grandpa's.
Some of us still do that, Jim.
Jen, being in Niagara Girl, did you always go to the island in Niagara Falls and check out all the lights?
We never really did, actually.
No? Wow. That was an annual tradition for almost everyone down there. Maybe. John.
Morning, everyone, and Merry Christmas. One of our traditions, when I was a kid, my mother would start baking in November. Cookies, obviously, and all the Christmas treats, and she'd have a hell of a time trying to keep them available till Christmas, because she tried to hide them, we'd find them, she'd try to find them, or hide them again, and we'd continue to find them. So it was quite a game, but we always had Christmas cookies when Christmas did arrive. Anyway, Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Dwayne.
Good morning. So one thing that I always remember, December, everything smells good because there's always food. My aunt is the cooker in our family, so wherever she goes, we go. It could be a big house, it could be a small apartment, but we'd all show up and we'd all celebrate all together. So every year I look forward to seeing most of my family. We have a big family in Canada, so we all bundle up anywhere, 30, 40 of us, and we'll just have a great time. So I'm always looking forward to that.
Thank you, Dwayne. Debbie.
So I'm a huge Christmas person, as you can see. It starts with the clothing, and then it goes on to lights, trees. So this year is very depressing for me because I have this tiny fake tree and it's moving around my house due to construction. I have one string of lights outside and my contractor already told me it's got to come down soon. So I'm very depressed, but that's why I'm dressed today. So one of our traditions that we do is when I married Paul, so it's kind of our family tradition, or his family tradition, and I took it on, is we have a special breakfast with his parents. So it consists of crepes that we made, all from scratch. We do like fruits and things, and it becomes a big thing. We get the table dressed up, and then we do presents afterwards or before, depending on what time children woke up. So then now what's happening is that we still continue that Sabbath morning Christmas on the 25th. Since my daughter's been married, last Christmas, not so much a problem, but this Christmas, because my son-in-law's family is huge. So I said the 25th sticks with us, no matter what, it's a tradition. We all get up, we all go to her house this year, but usually I host it, and we'll do a big breakfast. My mother-in-law will come. She's at a retirement home right now, so she'll come. My parents will come, and it'll be a big kind of festive morning. So that's one of our traditions that we've kept, and that's been ongoing for 35 years. One of the new traditions that we started was about 3 years ago, baking. So we now do a bake day where we do gingerbread houses, cookies, any cakes or anything like that. And we do it the Sunday after my birthday, which is November 30th. So following Sunday, the girls and I get together. Now that I have a grandson, he'll be able to be part of that, and then to start a new kind of tradition with just me and my family.
Chris Begg.
Merry Christmas, everybody. It's nice to be able to join Rotary. When you were going to eat out, I wasn't going to be there. So this is lovely. I was raised in Toronto and my grandparents lived in Toronto. So that made it really easy to visit back and forth. And so we would get up in the morning and do our presents. Oh, but the night before the grandparents came, like after we were in bed, and the grandparents and my parents opened their gifts between each other. So Christmas was really focused on the kids, which was just my brother and I. And then we had our Christmas morning, and then somebody hosted the dinner. Sometimes it was my mom, or one or the other of my grandmothers, or it became my maternal grandmother because my paternal grandmother died when I was 6 or 7 or so. Anyway, it was always back and forth, and you knew in the afternoon you were getting dressed up, and you could maybe take one favorite new toy to play with, and off we went. And my grandmother kept her cookie cutters, which in those days, of course, were just old tins with both ends out, right, for her to cut round cookies with, and a few other pots and pans. She had a special cupboard in the kitchen. I knew I was allowed to go in there and play with those things. So lots of great memories, and it's now morphed. My kids I live with my daughter, but the boys are down Eastern Ontario, and so and once they get partners, it gets really busy. So Christmas has become the day on which everybody's available to get together. And it usually happens from maybe 1 or 2 days before Christmas till December 31st, just depending. So that's how Christmas is in flux for us.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
And Smith.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Great to see everybody today. So I grew up in England and similar to Janet, Christmas pudding was always a big event. Ours was a little different. My mum used to hide threatening bits inside it. And if you found the money, you were lucky. You just hoped you didn't swallow it. But our tradition, in which I continue to this day, is we always had a full English breakfast on Christmas morning. And for those of you who don't know what a full English consists of, it's bacon, sausage, eggs, beans, mushrooms, black pudding, shredded potatoes, and lots of toast. So you eat so much at breakfast, you really don't need anything else for the rest of the day until it's dinner time. So thumbs up for a full English. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you, Anne. Dr. J.
Good morning, everybody. I think one of my first earliest memories that really had an impact on me was when I became adult enough to help the adults keep my younger brothers believing in Santa Claus. I joined the adults. Secondly, our family tradition with my kids was that they'd come over and we'd decorate the tree together as a family to the music of the Nutcracker. That was always our Christmas tradition. And then finally, my kids learned at a very, very early age that if Dad wrapped a present, it would be the ones that are in a brown paper sack with a bow stuck on it.
Thank you, Dr. J. Mr. Hoagie.
Dean, sorry to jump in. My apologies. I'm gonna have to leave the meeting a bit early. Just had a employee show up with COVID positive symptoms, so gotta go deal with that. My apologies. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Hope all's well.
Morning, everyone. Christmas tradition for me would be my favorite movies. It's a Wonderful Life. So every year we got to make sure we watch It's a Wonderful Life. I just think it's brilliantly written. Every year I watch it. I just love it. Fondest memory. So I think it was 18 years ago. It was the first time I took my wife home for Christmas. She wasn't my wife at the time, but took her home to meet my parents. And so growing up, she never celebrated Christmas. I think Chinese New Year was kind of like their big celebration. So I don't think she ever got any gifts or anything. And she married into the right family. My mom tends to get real stupid with gifts. I mean, I'm 50. This is the first year that she's actually backed off, and she's just going to give each of the kids one gift. So literally up until age 49, it was like I was 10 years old. So I bring my wife home. She doesn't know what to expect, and in that year, I think my mom basically took what she was going to buy for me and basically doubled up the gifts for my wife. And like my wife was sitting on the couch, and she was just like stacked with gifts all around. And she literally was like a 10-year-old.
Awesome.
She had set some high expectations for you.
Yeah. In trouble.
Special guest, Jason Reynar.
Hi, everybody. Just so good to see you all. I miss all of your smiling faces despite the early hour. I'm in beautiful, rainy Windsor. There's really no snow here. It's gloriously beautiful. Really, really enjoying it. Our new Christmas tradition is this thing called Bright Lights, which I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it, but I'm going to hold it up. It's this amazing display that the city of Windsor puts on of lights in the park, in Jackson Park, and it's incredible. It looks like something out of New York City or something like that. So we've been able to go and check that out, and the kids just love running around. And so we're forming some new traditions down here. We'll be at my parents' for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So looking forward to that very much. Good to see you all.
Thank you, Jason. Randy.
It's more of a fondest memory when I was a kid. We used to go to New Brunswick, spend a good chunk of the year there, and then mostly in Toronto after that. but for a couple of years we weren't able to go, and that's where my grandmother lived. So to keep the tradition, we'd open one present Christmas Eve, and we'd always open my grandmother's presents. So Christmas Eve rolls around, we got them in our hands, we're waiting, my mom told me to put it down. And there's a knock on the door. They had flown my grandmother in after we hadn't seen her for 5 years, and she was inside the stove box, all wrapped up. So we unwrapped her in the hallway. I have to say that was the best Christmas we ever had. Sweet.
I, like Ann, grew up on a farm, so nothing happened until the cows were milked. And so I was one of 6 children, and 6 children and my mom were in the house, and 6 children waiting for Christmas, knowing Santa had been there. There was clear evidence of it. And so it was torturous, and it was part of the game. It was part of it, was that we had to wait and wait and wait. We were allowed to take one thing out of our stocking. And always at the top of the stockings was things like lifesavers and crayons that were 8 packs and things like that. And so nothing to play with. It was just nothing. It was terrifying and horrible. And 6 children sitting there going, when is he coming in? How much longer, Mom? How much longer, Mom? Stuff like that. And then my dad, and talked about an English breakfast. I think my dad had that every morning. But he came in and he sat at the table as he always did for his breakfast. And then he ate breakfast slower than molasses in January. and he sometimes had extra coffee, and sometimes asked my mom to poach another egg for him. As a child, I just thought, when is this man ever going to finish? And it obviously was his tactic of elongating that situation. But then he finally asked, he still wanted more coffee, but he thought, if your mother agrees, I could take it to the living room. And so he had brought coffee, and of course he'd been up since 4:30 in the morning. There was over 100 cattle to milk with him and farm hands, and so it was a big job. And it was that torturous time, that wonderful torturous time of waiting and anticipating. It's character building, so it's his fault I have this character. But it just is something that you just never forget. And when I talk to my 4 surviving siblings, we talk about it, and it was the best time of the day, waiting for Dad to come in for breakfast. So it was good, but hard.
Winnie.
Hey, one of my fondest memories was, it's kind of similar to birth. No, I didn't grow up on a farm. But the waiting on Christmas morning, always being up so early. So that was like the one time my brothers would let me in their room, because I am the little sister. So we would go in one of my brother's rooms. They'd actually let me touch their Lego, run them through their stuff. So having, an hour, maybe even 2, depending on how early we got up, to play with their stuff on Christmas morning. It's almost better than Christmas itself. And then another thing that most people don't know, baking. So I really associate Christmas with baking. And I sympathize with Mom, because the cookies in the freezer just keep disappearing. So in our house, we start baking in October. Brian's mom actually plans her vacation all the end of the year so she can bake. So baking is really big in our family and in Ryan's family. And I have a quick funny story about Ryan from Christmas, because he's not here, so I can tell it. Embarrassing. So Ryan, one of his favorite hobbies is gaming. He's a little boy. And one year he really, really wanted, I think it was the first PlayStation. He was little. Anyway, his mom basically told him it's not going to happen. Can't afford it. There's 3 kids. However, because Mary, it's wonderful, she traded in all of her Zellers points to get him the gaming system. And on Christmas morning, when he opened it, he cried. Great memory. I like to hear every.
Zellers is nostalgic.
He didn't cry when he opened his PlayStation 5.
Toronto? There's a pop-up Zellers in Toronto. They're trying to bring it back. Wow. Jeff. Mr. Santa Claus himself.
That's it. Those are some of my most memorable memories from being Santa. Because I was Santa in Newfoundland for 1 year too, because that's where my kids live. And that was great because my grandkids didn't know I was Santa. So it was even better. But that was the same thing. I was raised on a farm, so we'd have to wait Christmas morning for my father to come in, slopping the hogs and whatever, and feeding the cattle and stuff like that. So no, there's always thousands of memories that we've had over the years. Our thing now is with my grandkids, it's a lot more fun. They actually want to do stuff with me now because they're older. So they don't mind going out with their grandfather. So like last time we went to Christmas shopping, the girls and I, so it's fun. That's what we do all the time now. We do something with the girls, and that's what makes it more enjoyable than any other Christmases. And when I was a kid, like I said, when I believed in Santa, that was the best part. As soon as I stopped believing in Santa, it just got expensive. So, but it's part of the year, and everybody enjoys it in our house. My wife goes a little crazy with her Christmas decorations. We probably have, I don't know, 10, 15 trees in our house in total. And there's probably over 1,000 decorations. And that goes up every year. It takes about a month to set it up. It takes about 2 weeks to take it all down again. But it's a lot of fun. We enjoy doing that. And I just sit back and listen to all the gossip and all the other stuff from all the other people that I hear. We get together with our families. Usually have 2 or 3 Christmases because we get together with one side of the family and we get together with the other side of the family. So it's a week of eating and drinking. So it's a lot of fun. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Enjoy.
Thank you, Jeff. Allison.
Hi, everyone. Merry Christmas. I'm one of 5. I'm the oldest, and my parents always made Christmas really special and extended family and friends. But I'm the oldest, and there's a big span. And then my son was the only grandchild. And then there was a gap for about 15 years. And it's not fun. Like, who cares if my teenage son liked his gift, right? And now my siblings are all having kids. So we have a range of kids from 10 down, and it's fun again. Like, it's about the kids, right? And Santa and the magic. And so we love it because we're a close family, but now that there's little kids who believe in Santa, it feels like Christmas again. So I really look forward to it. I'm excited to see this. Yeah, it's good.
Kate.
Everybody. Christmas for us, growing up for as long as I can remember, was a bit of a marathon. We were very blessed that there was always copious amounts of food at every table, bordering on gluttonous, to be quite honest. And so Christmas Day was a marathon. You always needed to make sure you wore your stretchy pants because it began with Christmas morning, which included a breakfast, church, and 2 full Christmas dinners in the afternoon. So 2 Christmas dinners and a Christmas breakfast. It was a marathon. But so I always look forward to that. It was very busy. At the end of the day, we were exhausted. And I always remember just laying in bed after Christmas and with the biggest smile on my face and the most full belly and loving every second of it. And so last year with COVID, obviously, Christmas was very different for all of us. But it was still actually really quite special for my family because it was the first year that we got to host Christmas, and it was quiet and it was calm and relaxed and quite beautiful. And we had my parents and my in-laws were able to join us. And it was just a very, I'll always treasure that Christmas because, like I said, we got to finally cook the meal, and really it was not as rushed, and we got to speak with everybody and do what we're doing now, like sharing our favorite Christmas memories. The kids got to play with toys, and we weren't, going from one place to the other. So despite not being able to be with our extended families, it was still a really beautiful day. Wishing you guys all Merry Christmas.
Okay.
I do have one thing to report on from the Sergeant of Arms. Last evening, we did the quiet, the silent Santa, and the rookie here, he did a great job.
Thank you.
The interaction with a couple of the kids was amazing. So, and Whitney, thank you for doing the photos and organizing all this great evening. So,
thank you.
How many were there?
7.
7, nice.
Yeah, there were 3 pairs and then 1 teenager. So.
That is such a good thing. Good for you.
I love doing that.
Does everybody understands that, right, what it is? Like maybe tell people what Silent Santa is about, maybe Tim, from your perspective.
Yeah, well, the concept is that children with autism or those with noise sensitivity can't handle going to the mall and standing in the line for hours and hours and hours to see Santa. So the idea of them being able to go to a nice, safe, quiet environment and meet with the old fella really worked. And so you get all kinds of different, because I don't know if anybody here has experience with autistic children, but they're all very dynamically interested in different things. So I had some very wonderful conversations that ranged from black holes in space to unicorns and hippos and math, science. It was awesome. Because I also have a child with autism, I was able to kind of connect with that, and I really, really enjoyed doing it. So I would do it again.
Good for you guys. Good for you.
There was two brothers came in, and one of them, he came in. He looked at Tim and said, "You're just a man in a costume." So that was a challenge for him.
And I said to him, "You're just a boy in a costume."
And the last one, he's 13 years old, and my wife, she was working at Sunnybray School. She was the educational assistant looking after kids with challenges like that. So he's an amazing young man. He just, talking about all the science, and he had an answer for everything, and he had a question for everything. It's quite amazing. He's capable of.
Yeah.
I think he's 13. I think he's going through
Slogan.
puberty as well. So
yeah, he's the same age as my son. So yeah, that's really cool. Yeah.
His mom said he's had a tough year. So one of my fondest memories, Christmas, I think I was 6 or 7 years old, and crept down the stairs to see what was under the tree, and this was before everybody was up, but it's still dark around. Then we came around to it. It was a electric Lionel locomotive in the cars, and just great. Still see it. And then, like everybody else has mentioned, all the memories around the traditional dinner and smells and cookies and turkey. And, yeah, there was a bit of rum in the sauce for the pudding, and so there's one other thing that really sticks in my mind. I don't know why, but every year a Jewish man would come around. He was a friend of my dad's. He would just stop to say hello. And before he left, he'd always hand me a brand new shiny quarter. Yeah, so yes, nice memories there.
Thank you, Barry. Tim. Morning. So my grandparents were both very, very social creatures. Grandmother was the eldest of 16 that survived, and my grandfather was the eldest of 9, or no, not second eldest of 9. So they both loved people, loved to be around people. So Christmas at their house was huge. It's like the Peter Gabriel big time song. Everything had to be bigger, bigger, bigger. So the house is always incredibly decorated. There'd be paper bells everywhere. Everything would be decorated. The tree was huge because they were also foster parents at the time when the Toronto Children's Aid Society would have group homes. So they would be often between 8 and 14 kids there too. So the family all coming in. I was the eldest grandchild, but then all the cousins would be coming by, and so it was always packed and lots of food. The gifts were like stacked under the tree. I just remember that, and I miss the days of that when it was kind of like that, when you could actually be around family all the time. As the families change, the world changes, and so, but you still hold on to those memories, and you say, Christmas was awesome for me at one point, and I look forward to the days that I have grandkids, and maybe I can reimagine that magic again. So, thank you.
Thank you, Tim. For me, Christmas, it's about traditions and how traditions change. Growing up, my dad's family was all out west. We never saw them during Christmas time. So every Christmas morning, we'd wake up at home, and then everyone would go to Grandma and Grandpa's house for Christmas dinner. So the Dirty Dozen, which was the 12 grandchildren, all the aunts and uncles, so 22 for dinner every single year. And we did that. That was life growing up. And then I met my wife, and traditions changed. Having a wife from Montreal. I always mess up, Réveillon, I believe it's called, on Christmas Eve. So meat pie, hot wine, things like that. And now it's just a struggle because it was always just our family all together. But now we have, my wife's parents are separated, my family, and it's fight over who gets Swiss for Christmas. So from one chaos to the other. But it's the holidays, and it wouldn't be the holidays without family. So thank you. Believe I got everybody. Anyone have any other stories they wanted to add before we move on?
Oh, I can remember if I can, Dean.
Go ahead.
The socks, the stockings we had were not stockings, red velvet stockings or handmade stockings. They were my dad's work socks.
Already washed.
Sometimes not washed, the ones with the red thing around the top of them.
Yeah, mine too, Bart.
Yeah.
And,
It's interesting generationally, some of your stories.
Our Christmas tree, it was put in a wooden, it was a butter, or the packed butter way back when. Like it was made of pine, and then you put a container in it. But to support the tree, we had a coal furnace, so we put coal in it to keep it set. We did convert to oil eventually.
Does anybody collect anything every year for Christmas? I collect Santas. I have 175 Santas.
Wow. Okay, we have to get a counselor in for that. Get you a counselor.
I have like 15 buckets of Christmas decorations.
It's like an AA meeting.
There's things like that you collect. My wife collects Santas, I collect nutcrackers. It's cool.
My wife stopped me from collecting stuff.
I'd just like to say, whoever invited or invented the elf on the shelf, that person should be targeted. I had to deal with it probably three years, but that was like,
I refuse.
I always tried to go with, I was part of was good with the stuff, like, and then we kind of made a game of it where it always seemed like Elf on the Shelf was trying to piss off Daddy. And, he'd be sitting, he'd spend the day watching TV, sitting at Daddy's chair, whatever, my seat at the dining room table, he'd be there, whatever. He was always in my way. My daughter just thought, brilliant. He was always annoying. Yeah. I don't know where he went, and I'm glad he's
Is that when Daddy sent him to live on the farm?
Jason, what do your kids want for Christmas? What are the little guys looking for?
They've got this sense that they are old enough to drive. So they really would like, these little ATVs or, these little cars that they see people on TV have, I guess, Paw Patrol, for example. So we're trying to figure out how to get one that's not, thousands of dollars. Anybody has any suggestions, let us know.
The Gigi. My husband got my nephew one for $100. It's used, but he loves it.
Hey,
That's a great suggestion. Yeah.
Facebook Market is actually really good too.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Jason, my oldest son does drive now, and he wants a real car.
I have a tale. When Annika, my 4-year-old granddaughter, was 2, my son took her to Toys R Us because he thought, oh, she could look around and see, and maybe she'll see a ball she really wants or something like that. Well, she saw the motorized car in Toys R Us, and she says, Daddy, I want it. I need it. And needless to say, she didn't get that. But now in our family, if something you want, you say, I want it. I need it. That's our sort of standing joke.
that Elf on the Shelf has been banned from my house. My son and daughter-in-law who are living with us right now.
You have to come over here, Janet.
Yeah, they can't hear you online.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Elf on the Shelf has been banned from our house. My son and daughter-in-law moved in with us in the mid-July. And a couple of weeks ago, we were sitting around because we were decorating the house up. And the kids were all around, you know, because they're 5 and 2 years old. So it's really brought a lot of excitement about Christmas. But one of the things that happened was all of a sudden, both Adam and Ally, it seemed like simultaneously said, no elf on the shelf is allowed in this house, okay? So we didn't even get the elf in the house. And no one rode, my husband and I rode shopping on the weekend and we happened to see it. We almost felt like buying it just.
Why didn't you? I just love the excitement. Who wouldn't be in on that? We're all there.
I don't remember when my excitement grew up or went out, but my kids are 14 and 16. And they are still up at the crack of dawn every Christmas morning. They'll sleep until 1 o'clock in the afternoon any other time, but Christmas morning, they're still up at 4 a.m. And you can hear them at their doorway, like trying to wake me up.
How many people had turkey on Christmas Day?
Oh, yeah.
Turkey.
And ham.
And ham.
Yeah, you can't have one without the other.
Anybody have anything other than turkey or ham? Your short pudding? Roast beef.
I've had roast beef. I've had lamb.
Tortilla.
We started in primary.
Yeah. Goose.
Goose.
Sometimes we've had a Christmas goose. Yes. Well, the British traditions run deep, you know.
I have to.
Ridiculous.
And who still makes Christmas cake, like fruit Christmas cake?
My wife does every year.
I love it. So
I thought there's only one. I thought there's only one Christmas cake and this keeps getting regifted around the world over and over again.
Christmas cake is similar to what Janet said about the Christmas pudding.
Yeah.
You start it in like October and then you leave it soaked in rum soaked cheesecloth. And it lasts forever, and it must be a British thing, because I love fruitcake, and I know most people outside of Britain don't like fruitcake, but it is one of those traditions that you always remember.
Yeah, well, on that point, the recipe that I have, I made it myself now. The recipe that I have is from the early 1800s. It's been passed down from generation to generation, which is really kind of cool. You know, when you've got something that is tradition that way. The unfortunate thing is my mom and dad passed, and I have inherited all of their pudding bowls. And I made it one year, and my brothers and sisters, because we would all get together and have a family Christmas. And there would be about 30 to 40 of us around the table and that. And I'd bring out the Christmas pudding, we'd light it, and then everybody would say, I don't want any. You know? So we have this Christmas pudding for months, but I love it. I just keep slicing off a little bit at a time, so.
Wow.
One thing, since living in Innisfil, so growing up, well, still, we're from Burlington. My father works for the town of Oakville. Sorry, guys. So he works for Oakville. He manages all of the snowplow removal for the city. And so growing up, we never wished for a white Christmas because it meant that my dad, who wasn't there, was working and making sure that the roads were safe so everybody else could get to their Christmas events. But since being in Innisfil, and when it snows here, it's usually not snowing in Burlington. So I have a newfound love and appreciation for a white Christmas. And man, I really hope we get some snow next week. So we
This
can.
Saturday. We're supposed to get it to be jumping.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, 5 to 10.
I lost some trees on that windstorm, so.
I guess we actually have some business to get to. Jeff, quickly.
What about
cash calendars?
Cash calendars, I got all kinds of, take the calendars, they're free, but I have a few stubs left here too. There's the stack, anybody wants more calendar, I'm seeing. I know I've got some for Jen, she wants a bunch, so she's just gonna transfer right to Chris. So that's it. Anybody wants some beer for a year? We made some, what was it, total cost, $13,825.
Everyone for beer for a year. and their work selling tickets. I know it was a tough go this year. Last year, even I had trouble this year. Last year they flew out like hotcakes, but when you see the same people over and over again because you're trying to avoid people, it's tough. But thank you all for a fantastic job.
So you made close to $10,000 profit.
Nice. Yes.
Also, sorry, I just wanted to also send greetings. I was with the Wasaga Club on Monday for work. So they just wanted to send their greetings to the club. And so, yes, bye from Wasaga.
And actually, on that note, President Dean, in my other role, I was at the Rotary Club. And I had been hearing things about the Rotary Club diminishing and falling away a little bit through the COVID times. They have 20 members. They're going strong. They are doing great things. I'm thinking we should have Rotaract come and do a presentation to us, maybe in the either by Zoom, but the energy you get from them is better in person. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But they're supporting a project in Haiti for children that are sold into domestic situations. And in fact, it's slavery. They send them to, under the guise of sending them to school, and they're doing things to help rescue these children, young women, usually 12 to 17-year-old young girls. So they're working on things like that. They bought pajamas for the women's and children's shelter in Barrie. I think $400 or $500 worth of pajamas and things like that. And it just was amazing because I had really heard through grapevine stories that they were losing their steam. They have not lost their steam.
No, I believe they just invented 2 new members in the last month.
Yeah, they inducted someone while I was there at the meeting. And so it was, I thought that was really good news because it means in our old age, someone will care for us.
Yeah, no, I'll reach out to Nicole, see if she can set up a meeting with us.
Yeah, we'll probably do it either at their pleasure, obviously.
Yeah.
And also the other thing I wanted to report with the other hat on is that I was invited to the tour of the Georgian College Bachelor of Nursing Science to tour of their facility and so on with the other Rotary presidents and some Lions Club presidents and so on. And in the new year, that's something I think we should talk about as a club. We talk about youth keeping them close to home. That's another opportunity for that. So lots of exciting things coming in the new year, I think.
Yeah, no, I wanted to speak to you about that because I did get the invite, but was stuck at work and couldn't get it out that morning.
Got pictures.
Perfect. Oh my God. 25. Do you have a living order this morning?
No, but I think I just want to say that I think we learned a lot from everybody in our commissions today. So I think we'll leave it at that.
We did. And
President Dean, do you want to give the club an update on the Sandy Cove drive we had last week?
oh, yes. I don't have the numbers for that. I'll send them to me. Unless you know.
Because I think, from what I remember, it was like over 4,000 pounds of food.
Yeah, and
It
close
was
to
2 nights and over $3,000. Sorry, it was over 4,000 pounds of food and
And I
over
think-
$3,000 in cash, and it was the most successful food drive we've ever had at Sandy Cove. So lots of our members turned out to help. So it was a great couple of nights. The people at Sandy Cove were delighted to see us again, and it's really benefited the food bank.
It may be why the Sergeant at Arms isn't here. He's been collecting food since we did our food drive at Park Bridge office. Anybody we missed or forgot or what have you, have been dropping it in there now out of his good nature. Of course, we don't tell he would ever do that. He went and picked all of it up and may still in fact be picking it up because it was a really overwhelming response even after we were done.
Yeah, I know even on our way back, there's people running out their houses with bags that we missed.
Whitney was our team leader, and she kept the whip cracking all night.
She only lost a couple of people twice, that's good.
Oh, nobody left behind. That was my rule.
Well, we found him.
We certainly tired my son out. He's exhausted the next day.
I have to ask Jason Reynar, are you going to the Windsor Rotary Club yet?
I have not yet. There are 3 very, very active but different clubs. So still trying to get a sense of where my best fit would be. And the new job's kept me a little bit busy.
His heart's still here.
Yeah,
That's right, exactly.
he does not need a lawyer, you guys.
Jeff, would you like to do the 50-50?
Certainly, Whitney, you're the closest.
579477.
Wrong, do it again.
Chicken dinner.
Turkey dinner.
All right. We have a couple week break coming up. I think today was fantastic and fun to learn about everyone's traditions. Again, it's sad that we couldn't have breakfast this morning, but again, I'm glad we had such a large turnout, both online, in person. Again, Jason, thank you so much. It's great to see you again. We're all gonna send you cards to make you feel even worse. But hopefully we run into you when you're in town. Don't be a stranger in the summer. Hopefully we can see you for a visit. And if that's it, everyone have a great, fantastic Christmas, and I look forward to seeing everyone in the new year.
Yep. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
See you.